There are thousands of DOS games. Most of them are terrible. I play one selected at random with a 20-minute time limit and record it live. This is the result. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another random DOS game show. People often ask me, "Hey, Lawnie, which DOS game have you played more than any other? Is it Warcraft 2? Is it TIE Fighter?" Well, the answer is no, it's this game, Premier Manager 3, which is a bit of a strange selection. I'll enter my name, which is Lawnie McLawnface, but we'll go Lawnie, and we'll select a club. Yeah, I used to play this obsessively back in the day, and you'll note that we're only allowed clubs in the Conference Division. Premier Manager is one of those games where you have to work your way up, so we'll select Dagenham, and you can cycle through all these delicious mugshots of people who definitely weren't arrested, but were probably members of the Gremlin staff. And hit start game. There we are. So we get the option now to arrange friendly matches. And you can see we have the option of picking Arsenal or Bolton or somebody like that and getting absolutely killed, and our morale just plummeting as a result because, you know, we're Dagenham, we're a conference, we're not very good. But if you keep clicking on that button, you can cycle down to Maltese clubs. Let's take on the mighty Valletta. And what else have we got here? Yeah, one of those. The Slime Wanderers, that famous football team. Slimea, Slima. And then we'll have Hamrun Spartans. And finally, to top things off, we'll take on Hibernians, I guess. They're fair 2-star though. So you'll see those matches have been timetabled before our conference kicks off. And then you just head on to the main screen in due course. I should probably set a timer first, if you'll allow me a second. So this is our current squad. The rating is good, 1 star, which is above fair. The rating system's a bit weird, but you've got a percentage-based system for handling, tackling, passing, shooting, heading, and control, and then you've also got a sort of masking system of fair, good, superb, outstanding, exceptional, the ultimate. So we've got a help button here, and you can choose which reports you want to see, which view screens you want, and change things about the match engine and stuff. And turn off the music, which is a single track that is looping. But let's ignore that and go to the transfer market. Here you'll see a pile of players who will never play for Dagenham unless you really head up the rankings. Because this guy, I mean, he probably could play for us. Let's be honest, he's from a European nation. But the Premier League players like Worthington, his tackling is superb. So it's probably somewhere in the 70s. And you'll see he's worth $500,000. We have 150,000. So we'd absolutely bankrupt ourselves even attempting to sign Nigel Worthington. But if we go down to somebody like May, good 2-star, that's about our level, 65,000. So it'd be half our money. You can also filter here by position. So if we were in the market for a striker or a goalkeeper or whatever, we can say, oh, Gregan's available. He's got world-class control, but his handling is fair 5-star. We also have the option, of course, to sell our worthless players. You'll see also the contract length and the value. If the contract length goes to 0, the value also goes to 0 because of the Bosman ruling. This is the stadium. I mean, we'll not really touch on this much. You can expand seating here and stuff, but we do not have the money for that. We only have 150k, so let's not do that because nobody wants to come see Dagenham at the minute. This is the sponsorship. We can pick up sponsors here, like Shorts Records or Hatch Videos, really a sign of the times there. And they will pay us either a lump sum or per week. It really depends on the agreement. CVG, I've heard of them before, let's pick them up. And you'll see the number next to the stadium. shows the number of boards that you can have. So they, we can pick up BJ Lever, that'll just take the one, or you can have multiple boards all over the place. And the goal is just to get as many high-profile sponsors in as small a space as you can. But obviously, the conference teams aren't going to want to be sponsored by the big boys. Well, they are, but the big boys aren't that interested because there's not going to be that many eyes on the mighty Dagenham. So, next up is the tactics and team selection. So there are our hopeless hoofers. You can see more info on the players, like McKenna's 23 years old. And then the team rating, of course. We're using a 5-2-3, which means 5 defenders, 2 midfielders and 3 attackers. And you can see the various quadrants of play, which means where the players are expected to be given the location of the ball. You can also change their likelihood to pass and run on an individual level. So if you want a particular player to take long shots or short shots or whatever, you can. So if we select all our strikers to take long shots, that means they're going to take, pot shots, and they're less likely to go in. You can select the captain, vice captain, and who does what for corners. And obviously there's no player match data because we haven't played a match yet. It's probably going to be an uninspiring board draw, they often are. So that's the next. And we're pretty evenly matched. I mean, they're a bit worse than us by a whole level, but that doesn't mean much at this level. I think they could probably still force a draw. And then of course we get to edit the player name if you want. And yes, we had the physiotherapy also there, because players do get injured. More details on just the history of the club and league standings and whatever, but unlike, say, a championship manager, the history in Premier Manager literally begins from when you start the game, so there's no detailed backdrop. We don't have any scouts, so those first 4 buttons do nothing. We have no coaches, no youth team, which is important. We can insure players that, if something terrible happens to them, we can get monetary recompensation. And there's our approval ratings, which are not high because nobody knows who I am. So we should probably hire some people from the job centre here. We can have an assistant, a youth team, but we are limited. We have almost 200,000 thanks to those advertising boards, but we need to be careful here. A fair 3-star assistant, not great. Terrible youth team coach. But, we can't afford to be picky. We have no choice. I mean, really, I should hire them all, but I'll do that some other time. So you can search for a specific club and just check out the players. But this guy's stuck to Conference League, and he can only look up fair 3-star, which is borderline pointless in terms of scouting. And as you can see, the other 3 scouts not available. Now this is an important one. You can totally cheese this. No youth player available yet, but you can search for a specific youth player, and you can then cheese it by saving the game before the start of the season, and then if the youth player who comes through is good, you can save. If the youth player comes through is shockingly poor, you just load the game. It's you're not meant to do that, but I did it. Here's your old horn, the old phone that you can get on the phone to and just talk to all kinds of people. So say we wanted to go to Manchester United and tamper with Nicky Butt's contract because he could leave on a Bosman. We could. Or Cook. Cook would be more likely, but their prices would be extortionate still. They demand a certain level of wage that we could not afford. Also, the prestige of playing in the conference for Dagenham after Manchester United, not so much. This is just all the league data information and various timetabling and stuff, which, is useful if you want to analyse. Cup competition, pretty similar. And our good old fax machine, which serves as the sort of notifications which is a mainstay in all management games. Of course, you have all your banking details. You can accept a loan if you expect to bankrupt the club. And there's various data on tickets and stuff like that. So let's hit the whistle. And it's Dagenham versus Valletta. There's various other friendly reports, but if you exit out of them, it'll go into the match engine. And the music will stop. Oh, Cavill scored already. Excellent. I'm predicting a board draw like most of the management games. You can change your tactics, you can change the way that the field is represented, and in the bottom left-hand corner, oh, they scored. Great. You can also change the speed if you want, though I think you might need to pause the game in order to change the speed. I don't think clicking on it will change anything. At halftime, you have the option to change your team selection. You can do that at any point, I believe, and make substitutions and so on. Probably should berate them and say, you're doing terribly. You're drawing 1-1 with Valletta. Awful. But it's early days. It's just the start of the season. I shouldn't be too hard on them. So you can see I've paused it now. And I've just told it, right, I want to look at the intricacies of the isometric match engine at 7 speed. Oh, maybe 31 speed. No, let's speed it up even more. And I don't know if that has much of an effect on the outcome of a match, but you can look at player positions. The obvious problem being that you can't really tell the players. It's very rudimentary. But still, it's nice to see. Man of the match Cavill for scoring that goal. But yeah, just as I predicted, a board draw. And you can see, courtesy of ROF systems, the various other, results. The Glenavon one. So we've got a little notification, fax in, and we've got the friendly match results, but that's not what we're interested in here. We were pretty abysmal. Look at that. The youth team coach has found a youth player who matches your requirements. Also, Cox has gone from Notts County to Blackburn, I think. Not important. So, we have to find out how to find that youth player. And I've forgotten. So, this could take a second. I might dim it out, actually, and head back in when I see him. Okay, so you go to the employment bit and the youth coach, which makes sense really, and we have good old Atkinson here, a 17-year-old who we can promote to the main squad. The youth player joins the squad, and we can see he's not great, so let's have a look at his actual stats. There's our main keeper, 31, Atkinson, 23. That'll improve with age and training, but he's only 17, he's not going to be better than our main keeper. And that's pretty much the gist of it. I mean, I've only given you a sort of cursory exploration of this, but management games are not one of those you want me to labour on 20 plus minutes with. You either like football management games or you don't. Premier Manager 3 is a terrific management game. It refined the formula of Premier Manager and Premier Manager 2 and Premier Manager 3 into a deluxe package with further upgrades. The only downside, other than the quirks of the game and the rudimentary match engine, is that image-based buttons and so on are of their time, and the stat masking can be annoying for stat fans. But other than that, it's a really enjoyable management simulation. Not only is it a tactical simulation, it's a business management sim as well, harkening back to the glory days of mid-90s Premier League football. That soundtrack is going to get bored into your head though, so if you want to play it, I would suggest muting that in the options and just playing your own music. It's a classic from Gremlin, truly worth playing for all football management fans and DOS gaming enthusiasts of that ilk. And I should know, I sunk thousands of hours into it back in the day. And if you like me talking about random DOS games, I do it all the time. Feel free to take a look at the hundreds of other videos on the channel, and if you like what you see there, you can always subscribe. And if you could manage Dagenham all the way up to the Premier League, you might be one of my Ferguson-esque patrons, who can take a club down on its luck and turn it all around. And don't forget the members either, and I particularly appreciate them in these trying times. Wonderful folk. Classic British management game. Well worth a look. Until next time.